I'm really excited today. Today we're going to go through my selection or my collection of my James van Praagh cards that I have. If you don't know, he's one of the most, I want to say, he was really known. He's basically, the rich and famous people were after him to get readings, James van Praagh. He's wonderful, you know. So we're going to see my favourite cards. Now, coming up on the screen here is the Power of Love. I loved this deck. It really taught me the difference between discernment, and it also taught me the difference between judgment. So you know how you get lessons in life and you know, it could be from people or things or books. This deck of cards really taught me that. Now, it is printed by Hay House. It is the standard. You know, it's interesting because we often think of decks of cards as, you know, arty and got people, and there's not much going on in these cards. You know, they're just big quotes. I have done a review of this deck. You can see it. I'll put the card up here on the screen so you can go and jump in and see it. But this deck, it really taught me a lot. We will read the card of the discernment. I'll start now. How's that? So you can look at the cards on the screen. But these are the messages that we've got out of all of my James van Praagh card decks. The collection, the Power of Love, is my favourite, and also is the Talking to Heaven deck. The discernment card says you are developing the skill to distinguish love from fear and truth from illusion. So the words in this booklet here is really powerful. And it says, one of the hardest lessons to grasp while living in this physical dimension is the art of discernment. Life is a series of choices, and you always want to make the right one for your soul's evolution. Discernment is not judgment. Discernment is living your life with a recognition of what is in alignment with your unique path. When you are centered in your being and aware of your own power, you're able to see the love and truth in everything and everyone. Intuition is the language of your soul, so it is imperative that you understand how your soul speaks to you, and the best ways for you to do so is to listen. When you utilize discernment in your daily life, choices become easier, and manifesting the best possible outcome doesn't seem like a matter of chance. The wonderful Shakespeare adage, "To thine own self be true," encapsulates discernment perfectly. Remember, what seems important to you may not be to somebody else. So when you use discernment, understand that it is for your own benefit and growth. And what is beneficial to you on your path to self-acceptance ripples outwards to those around you. When you know yourself, love yourself, and honor who you are, you become aligned with your divine self. When this happens, you attract only good into your life. So a lot of his teachings and a lot of his card decks and books do talk about the lessons that he's learned from spirit. And that's what I love about James van Praagh. For those that don't know, he was behind the TV hit Ghost Whisperer. And I actually think he wrote the pilot, but for some reason his name didn't go on it. I don't know why. And obviously Jennifer Love Hewitt was on that series, and that went for years. I don't know how many years, but years and years and years. So his card decks do come from a place of mediumship. They come from a place of spirit. They come from a place of learning. So that's why I really love his teachings, because there's no fluff around them, you know, like there's no big, look at me, I'm so wonderful. It's a very grounded card deck, this one, and that's why I like it. You know, just some things in my life I cling on to and I hold on to, and I sort of pull them out when I feel like I've been a really shitty human, and this is probably one of the items, plus the book Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life. I might actually bring that up at the end of the screen. Now, the card deck that you're seeing now is the Mediumship card deck. It's Talking to Heaven. This card deck came out with Doreen Virtue. From now, it has been reprinted, and James van Praagh's name's just on this. I have done a review of this. The card, you can pop up and see it on my channel. It's a really nice card deck for somebody who's struggling with grief. It's got some really soft messages on there, and, you know, it sort of helps somebody who doesn't know about spirituality or doesn't know about the evolution of the soul. It just gives really nice soft messages. It's done in such a way that doesn't scare people. It doesn't say, you know, we're here, we're haunting you, you know, like... that's what I want to say. So, as I said, Doreen Virtue's name on this. It does have on the cover Mediumship cards. It has got the gold banner on there, you know, like, which is sort of... It's disappeared now, I think, probably with costs, to be honest, cost cutting and environmental. But as you can see here, the messages are just beautiful, you know, like, remember me by the happy memories. Like, who doesn't love that when you've lost somebody and you're in grief? You know, it's a kind of deck that you can pull out and just feel some peace within, like feel like that you're being heard by the other side without tapping into any mediumship abilities or pulling out a, Ouija board or whatever. So really nice deck, this one. I've done a big review on it. I won't read about the card deck. Like, for instance, Tears Cleanse the Soul. Should I read that one? Okay, I might read that one. So it is quite lengthy. So I'll read it up now and you can continue looking at the cards on the screen there. When you cry, I'm even closer to you, hugging and reassuring you. Sometimes you feel my presence and sometimes not. However, I want you to know how beautiful you are when you are vulnerable with your heart fully open, feeling your raw emotions. Tears are a way to wash your soul of impurities such as fear and worry. So it's sort of giving that person reading this or the card permission to cry. Like, we're often taught, be strong and, but we need to release it. We need to release that emotion because otherwise it just bottles up and we never deal with it. And it continues, it's a healthy means of releasing painful feelings. So I'm very proud of you for allowing yourself to cry. I know that it's difficult and I know that you want the pain to end, and it will, I promise. Just know that your heart heals faster as you allow it to experience all of these feelings. Don't try to stay composed or hold back tears. Cry if and when you need to. People will understand, and if they don't, then that says much more about them than it does about you, because God gave us the ability to shed tears for a healing reason, and it takes a strong person to cry. So just beautiful, beautiful messages. I would really say, and I'll put the link in the description box for all of these cards, if you've got somebody who's struggling with grief, try and give them these cards. It might just open up something within them that they just need to hear, or, that their purpose, or, you've even got that card there, you have nothing to feel guilty about. And that's really hard to get over. Now, these two card decks that's popping up on the screen, I find them very similar. I find them very similar in messages. I find them very similar in their teaching. So it's up to you which one you prefer. You've got messages from the guides, which says it's the transformation cards, and then you've got the soul's journey lesson cards. So let's have a look. And this is the booklet I'm currently reading, Ghosts Among Us by James van Praagh. I haven't finished it yet. I'm near the end. I'm near the end of the chapters. I'm up to the protection chapter. So if ever you can get your hands on his books, I've got a few on my Kindle. And even following him on social media, following him on YouTube. He's got some wonderful meditations. He's just, he's a teacher. He's a spiritual teacher. So let's look for this one, the messages from the guides. It is, he doesn't come up with the most arty deck or the original decks. For me, it's like that the quotes or the affirmations are wrote on like a scroll or an old book or a page. So he's passing on his guidance from one person to another. We will read the card Never Judge Another, only because I did the discernment card for the first deck. So I thought we'll continue that, and then you can just see the similarities in the messages that he's written in each of the card decks. Never judge another. Your higher self is just objectively experiencing. It does not come from a place of judgment from its perspective. Nothing is good, bad, right or wrong. It just is. In this physical dimension, however, your awareness or consciousness is filtered through the human experience as ego. It is the ego that judges because it is fragile and insecure. It is usually happiest when it feels better than. Judgment is fear-based. It separates you from others when your goal is to acknowledge your sameness. Your fellow souls have chosen this earth plane at the same time. We just have unique personal blueprints that we're following. It's not your job to judge another's path. They are just learning different lessons than you are. Everyone has chosen a life circumstance and a human form to inhabit that will enable them to learn the lessons chosen by their higher self and guides. To judge their decision-making is fool's play. It is the ego that needs this sense of separation in order to survive. If this card appears in your spread, the guides want you to keep a watchful eye on your ego. Instead of sending someone the negative energy of judgment, isn't it great how he says that? Like the negative energy. Bless them on their way. Instead of disdain, wish them Godspeed on their particular journey. So as I said, it's really well written. You can really grow a lot from these cards if you wish and choose to. You know, if you're willing to sit there, maybe you want to pull one card out a week and just sit with the messages and think, gosh, am I being a bugger? Like, we're all buggers, you know, we've all got good and bad within us. It's just how we grow and evolve and learn and not make the same messages. So that's the messages from the guides. Now we're going to look at the Soul's Journey deck. Now the Soul's Journey deck came out first. This was his first card deck. My deck isn't the original one. That it isn't. So, you know, the original ones may have the silver gilding on it. I'm not too sure. I'm assuming it would have, possibly. If you've got this deck, let me know, because the Talking to Heaven had the gold and it was done prior to that. So I'm going to pull out, I was going to read the Envy card, but I've really decided to pull out again, so we're sticking with the same theme. I'm going to pull out the Judgment, and as you can see, a lot of the lessons on these cards were actually put on both the love and the messages from the guides. So it's really up to you, basically, what deck you'd like to purchase. Personally, I don't think you need them all, but maybe you wish. Maybe, you know, you want them all here to learn and self-grow. They all are about self-growth, these cards. So Judgment. I understand that everyone has their own unique path and challenges. We are all spirit. We are all the same. It's only the roles we have chosen to play here on earth that makes us seem different. The biggest lesson you have chosen to learn is to love. There are many situations in this physical dimension that is possible to incarnate, but the core lesson is to look past these illusions and see yourself in everyone. Each soul has chosen its own struggles, and your task is not to judge how someone goes overcoming these obstacles, but to assist that soul. Just love the positivity of these cards. Spirit has given you the tools of compassion and empathy to help you see through the eyes of those who appear different. Your ego has taught you that making other people feel insignificant or inferior will allow you to feel better than yourself. This is an illusion. By diminishing others, you diminish yourself. Always learn to follow the golden rule. I will treat others as I would like to be treated. Everyone in your life is here to teach you something about yourself. Accept the lesson with love and understanding. Aren't they great? They're great lesson cards, beautiful lesson cards. So if you're looking to really evolve and learn and become somebody, I'm not going to say more spiritual, because how can you be more spiritual? I just want to say learn from your lessons, you know, grow. Not beautiful decks to go. And as I said, I'm a great fan of his. You know, I can't say a bad word about James van Praagh. I really love him. You know, he's one that's always stuck with the same type of knowledge. He hasn't sprung around from bloody angels to mediums he's always stuck with the mediumship. You know, that's his core passion. You can really see that in a lot of his teachings and interviews and the way he talks and discusses the spirit and how it evolves and how it grows. So definitely one to, as I said, follow on social media if you haven't already. I want to show you the books that I feel also too, if you're looking at, you know, like growing or learning. Two books that I would really recommend that you look at is by, obviously they're both Hay House authors, is by Dr. Wayne Dwyer, Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life. It's about the Tao. It's got the quote of the Tao, the way the book's set up, but it's also got a small paragraph about do the Tao now, you know, like, so for instance, you know, turn the other cheek, don't get caught up in a fight. So for me, I pull out this book when I feel like I've been a really shitty human. And the other book that I will not get rid of, that I love, and I should go back and read it again, is The 11 Eternal Principles. It's very good. You know, it talks about the power of abundance. It talks about the law of attraction. It talks about all different things, what you're attracting into your life. It talks about the law of evolution. So they're another, you know, like if you want to have a spiritual toolbox, I would actually say this is my spiritual toolbox, as small as it is, and plus the Bible. So that's my selection of the James van Praagh cards. What do you think? Which one would you get if you had a choice or an opportunity? Let me know. Until next time, please comment, because it really helps the channel. And I'll see you next time when I'm showing off more of my selection.